How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I am so excited because I am finally going to show you what I'm doing with my cheap SL55 AMG. For those of you new to my channel, thank you for joining in. But for those of you who have been following along, this has been a little bit of a long time in the making. Well, at least a few weeks, because I've bought this car. I bought this car a few weeks ago, and I cannot stop raving about it. This is one hell of a performance bargain. For those of you who don't know, this is a 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL55 AMG. This is the top of the line Mercedes that was made in that year. It was the fastest automatic car in the world. It's the fastest convertible car in the world at the time of its making, and it was the fastest car Mercedes had ever built up to that point. But this is one hell of a car. I have put it on the dyno. It has gone through the quarter mile at an astonishing speed.
12:55. He's going to be very, very happy.
And at the end of it, I managed to drive it 1,100 miles in a single day. So this is a very good example of what I bought, of what the car can be. And this is actually the cheapest example in the country. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of how good these cars are. For those of you too lazy to Wikipedia, this car has a supercharged V8, 5.4 liter, making 493 horsepower with 516 foot-pounds of torque. It is a rocket ship. It has a 5-speed automatic gearbox. It weighs 1,000,000 tons, so actually about 4,400 pounds. And it has a hardtop convertible folding roof that is down right now, and it is actually soaking up a lot of this rain that we're getting. So I'm gonna take it inside my garage. We're gonna put it on the lift, and now I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do with this awesome, awesome car. All right, now that looks like it's at home. All right, before I start rambling and wax poetic about this car, I am just going to tell you what this car is going to become, hopefully. This project is unlike any project I've done before, and unlike any project you've likely seen with an SL. It's not gonna be a project just for power. It's not gonna be a project just for show. It's not even gonna be a mix of both. It's gonna be a transformation of what this car essentially is. And no, I'm not making an off-road beast with a F350 frame, and no, I'm not doing any of that. This is staying a Mercedes SL, but I'm gonna make it what I think the SL should have been in the first place. The SL stood for Sport Light, and I think over the years that has been forgotten, mostly by Mercedes, because these things definitely aren't light. This is 4,400 pounds. Just for reference, this is also a sports car, but this is 3,500 pounds. That is almost 1,000 pounds less than this, and this is not considered a super light car by any standard. So yeah, this is a very heavy car. And also the sport factor. It does have a sport mode of suspension, but it's not very sporty. It's sort of wallowy, and it should be, because the amount of energy that is expended making a 4,400 pound car go through the corners, that is an insane amount of energy. And I think that it can be a lot better if we just make it a lot lighter. So the car is gonna have to be sporty. The car is gonna have to be light. Well, at least lighter than it is now. Mercedes actually did make a Black Series, the SL65 Black Series, which got rid of the foldable metal roof in lieu of a carbon one. Well, I'm not going to go to the extent that they did, and I mean, even Mercedes, their SL65 Black Series still weighed 4,000 pounds, and it's basically 400 pounds off this car. So I think, I don't think I'm smarter than Mercedes, but I think I could do a little bit better with some good old ingenuity and desperation, because I don't have their money, but all I got is time, baby. So this project is gonna include 3 key factors. Number one, let me put my finger out there to visualize it for all my audience. This has to look like it came out of the Mercedes factory. Now, it doesn't look like it has to be a factory, like a mass market model. It can be like a one-off example. There are Mercedes one-offs and special editions and whatnot, but I want this to look and act and feel like it came from the factory with that certain fit and finish. I don't want this to be a parts extravaganza where I just basically bolt on parts to what is a core frame and then everything after that is aftermarket. No, this, I want it to look like it came out of the showroom as it, well, in its finished state. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but in its finished state, that is at least the point. Number two, this car has to be faster, or at least more powerful than a Mercedes-Mclaren SLR. And I chose that car because that is a quintessential supercar of this time. It was one of the fastest cars in the world, one of the fastest cars Mercedes or McLaren had built at the time. And it was this $500,000 hypercar, supercar, and it used a lot of the same engine components. It used the same 5.4 liter V8. Whoops. It used a lot of the same components, the same 5.4 liter V8. They did have some cam work, some intake work, some cooling work, and some supercharger work, but it produced a little more power than this. I think it produced around 620 horsepower. So this has to be at or above 620 horsepower when I'm done. And I think it was around 600 foot-pounds of torque. I could be wrong about that. I didn't check the Wikipedia before I made this video, but I'm sure you guys can check it for me. And by the time I will finish this project, I think that'll be checked by then. But 620 and 600 horsepower, that is to the crank. That's not to the wheels. I'm not gonna go nuts. I don't think that this car needs to be a million billion horsepower, but 620 horsepower, basically an SLR in disguise as far as its power is concerned. I think that would be a very, very good start. And number three, or actually, if it's a Mercedes, I should probably do the German 3. Number 3, the Sport Light thing that I was talking about before. It has to be sportier, it has to be lighter. In order for me to show you how exactly I'm gonna make this car sportier and lighter, I'm gonna have to get this car up in the air. So we are gonna do that in 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Yeah, it looks really, really nice, and there's actually a lot of room for activities underneath. But okay, let me stop rambling, get on focus. So first thing I'm gonna do is change some of the exterior features. I love the way this car looks. I think it is the best looking SL that Mercedes has ever made, and that includes the gull wing. And I know I'm gonna catch a lot of heat from you guys, but honestly, I think I'm right here. Unfortunately, this one is a little bit rougher around the edges. You can see that it took a little bit of battle damage right here, and yeah, the whole front bumper needs a respray, as well as a lot of the car. So the car is also black, which isn't my favorite color, especially for these hot Florida summers. So it might get a color change. I'm not quite sure yet. A lot of these things are TBD, to be determined, but one thing is for certain, those wheels gotta go. I hate those wheels. They might look good on a C63, but I really, really don't like them here on the SL. It doesn't really make much sense for that car. And yeah, I think it'll look better with something a little bit bigger. These are 18s. I'd like some 19s on there. Maybe something with a little bit of a dish or maybe a rake in it. Not anything Stance Nation. The camera's gonna be the same, but just something maybe like a concave wheel. Something which accentuates the lines of the car and don't just make it look like, I don't know, I am a wheel. This is my function. I am some spokes and metal, and that is it, and that's all I need to be because I am German. That's not what I want for this car. Another thing is that wheel gap. That wheel gap is atrocious. That wheel gap is suited more for my dually than it is for this super sports convertible. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna change this entire suspension. This has a hydropneumatic ABC suspension, which is very, very expensive to maintain, very, very expensive to repair. We're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars if the entire system needs to be replaced. So that has got to go. I'm gonna put some coilovers, some adjustable coilovers, not just any regular run-of-the-mill. I'm not gonna put the SL350 stuff on here. I'm gonna put some purpose-built coilovers that will make this thing a lot more sporty. Another thing that I'm gonna do is these brakes, while they're good, I think they could be a little bit better. They leave something to be desired, so I'm gonna change out the pads and rotors. The pads are not aggressive in the least. I'm gonna get some high pressure or high boiling point brake fluid, because I think this car needs it. I know that the brakes on the front are particularly fried. I know on the report that Mercedes did, they said that the brakes need to be serviced, and you can see right there that, yeah, these brakes are toast. Yeah, this is, they're on their last legs. But some new rotors and some new pads should help with that very, very well. The tires, I'm not sure what they're gonna be, but they are gonna be some high performance joints. So maybe Michelin Pilot Sports, something like that. But one of the things that makes a car more sporty and also lighter, to go with that theme, is the removal of these things right here. This is the exhaust, and this exhaust is heavy. This is very, very heavy. I don't know if you guys ever worked on Mercedes or AMG exhaust, but these are insane to handle. And just because there's cats right here, there's resonators right there, mufflers, and everything is very, very thick wall tubing, and that can be lightened up a lot. So aftermarket solutions for this car, you can alleviate the weight of the exhaust by 75%, and you can get better flow because these cats, and also, I don't know if you guys can see that, well, up there is, those are the exhaust manifolds, and the exhaust manifolds are very, very restricted. Yeah, I can't even talk today. The exhaust manifolds are very, very restrictive. So headers and a full exhaust system will make this car sound and perform beautifully. Now, the main reason I wanted to get this car, I mean, let's be honest, I wanted this car for a long, long time, but the main reason I have lusted after this car and looked countless nights for one was to have the chance to remove this guy right here. And if you don't know what that is, that leak is from the AC. It's just whatever. I'm digressing. If you don't know what that is, this is the automatic transmission, and it is the bane of the existence of many, many SL and E-Class and CL Class and CLS Class owners with this engine combination, with this 55 engine combination. This car will be the very first one with a 6-speed manual transmission installed in it. And it is, I'm not even sure that this is even gonna be possible, just because everything is iffy. Everything is custom and everything has never been done before, so I'm gonna run into a lot of issues. But I have sourced a person in Australia that can make me a custom bell housing that will have behind the engine a Tremec TR6060 or Tremec T56 transmission. And the Tremec T56, for those of you who don't know, it's a transmission from a Viper, from a Firebird WS6, from like Trans Am, from a CTSV. All the big horsepower cars have it, and this one will as well, because I wanted something that is just as reliable as what came in here stock. Now, it is going to be a long road, and I don't expect this to be anywhere near completion in the near future, but I am going to need some help. So with that, I am going to ask you guys to, if you have any leads on anything I might need, just look out for my videos. I'm going to tell you exactly what I need, and then it doesn't have to be parts, it doesn't have to be money, it doesn't have to be anything like that. It just could be some advice to issues I'm dealing with and stuff like that. But for a manual swap on a regular car, what we're looking at usually is take out the transmission, take out the torque converter, take out the drive shaft. You have to put in provisions for an extra pedal or put another pedal box. You have to rip apart the center console, put the new transmission in with the clutch, with a slave cylinder and master cylinder, hook that up to the pedal, and then just basically button everything up and hope the ECU works well with that. The ECU on this will not work. I've talked to a lot of ECU experts, and the ECU and transmission controller cannot be taken away from each other. They're married, they love each other, they're inseparable. They're like Jack and Rose, but you know, just pretend that Jack didn't die freezing in the ocean. So my solution to this problem is basically I'm gonna fool this ECU and transmission combo into thinking that they're still together when really one has left and it's cheating hardcore. I'm gonna have to intercept the CAN bus. I'm gonna do a lot of trickery. At least this is the plan. I'm gonna try to intercept the CAN signal, replicate everything that's coming out of the transmission, and then attempt to fool the ECU into thinking that transmission is still there while I'm rowing my own gears. So that is gonna be the hardest part. Now, everything else isn't easy. That doesn't make it easy. But I have sourced a pedal set. I'm going to use a pedal set from a C230. I think I can make that work since both of these pedal sets are plastic. So the pedal is fine. I can probably just Dremel out a hole and put a shift boot where the original one is. So that's not going to be a problem. I don't think that the placement of any pedals as far as master cylinders, that's not going to be a problem because the pedal set that Mercedes has, it has a remote mounted reservoir, so that's all fine. But the big problem is one is going to be just making sure I get that Australian made adapter plate that goes onto the Tremec T56. Actually, if you have an American made one, if you have a Tremec T56 to M113 or M12, M112 or M156, they all have the same bolt pattern. If you have one of those adapter plates, let me know, and we can work out a deal because I'm trying to find one and it's very, very difficult. But I have found one in Australia, and they're made to order, and they come with a special 2 or 3 disc clutch, and that's gonna be just what this car needs. But that is very, very iffy, and it is very, very expensive. And I can't really afford it right now, but I'll try to see if I can scrape it by. So if any of you have a better solution, and no, I'm not using the Chrysler Crossfire or Mercedes SLK transmission, even though I know that technically bolts onto this, it is made of glass, it's not gonna hold the kind of power that I need, so I'm not using that transmission, but thank you for anybody that is thinking about writing that in the comments. I've already thought of that, and that is not an option for me at this moment. One of the goals for this project was so I can make a car that Mercedes never made, but really should have. I'd love for the car to make it onto shows like Matt Farah's One Take and Jay Leno's Garage. I know Jay Leno always loved Mercedes, and he said that the SL always deserved a manual transmission, and I'd love for this car to sort of make it on there, but it is a very long road from here to there. So if you or anybody you know is interested in this build and you want to help me out, you can email me at asktavarish@gmail.com. I'm looking for businesses that would like to partner with me on this. I'm still keeping this on a budget, so I don't need anything like, oh, we're gonna give you $100,000 worth of you know, whatever worth of machining work, or like I don't need that. I want DIY solutions. I want this to be a budget-oriented build, something that most people can do in their garage like I'm doing right now. Even though I do have a lift and tools and stuff, it's not that outlandish for somebody to do this themselves. And that's ultimately what I want to bring to the table. I could do a standalone, but standalones for this car are $8,000. $8,000 is basically what I spent on the car. I'm not doing that. I'll only do that if there are no other options, and really that's really a reluctance thing on my part. So the standalone thing, even though that could be an out-of-the-box solution, or rather open or a turnkey solution, I think it's better if I do it as an open source with using just a stock everything. That way, if I find a solution, I can just put it out there free of charge, and anybody that wants this M113K with an automatic transmission, you can basically put your own transmission on it. You can use the stock electronics and everything just like they came from the factory. So I think that would save a lot of people money, save a lot of people headache. And if I figure that out, I think that'll be a good thing for everybody. But I'd like this to be a group activity. I'd like this to be a group effort, because this is gonna need a lot of work. If you're a sponsor or a well-wisher, you can email me below. It's gonna be in the description, but yeah, it's gonna be a long road. So you're not gonna see episodes on this for a while, just because I'm gonna start to finish the S-Class, the Ultimate Daily Driver, and that's something that I've been putting off for way too long. But right after that's finished, it's gonna be full steam ahead on this. And keep in mind, the episodes might be a little bit spotty just because I have to buy parts, I have to source them, I have to make sure I'm getting a good deal on them. Sometimes parts don't come in, sometimes parts don't fit. But I'm gonna have to try to get regular content out there. I know I've been kind of slacking for the last few days. I'd like to say a very big thank you to all you guys that have made this possible, made me even think. One of my viewers and subscribers actually gave me the link to buy this car, so thank you very, very much. But I think that's gonna be it. I'm sure I didn't answer a lot of the questions that you guys might have had. So if you have some questions, please email me or leave a comment down below, because I know that sometimes I ramble. I have like little lists of what I want to cover in every video, but sometimes I don't cover them all, or sometimes I don't think of them. So if you have a question about this car, or what I'm going to do with it, or plans I have, I'm an open book at this point. So just email me. You can find me at facebook.com/AskTavarish. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheRealTavarish. And again, email at asktavarish@gmail.com. All that stuff will be in the description below. I'm repeating myself way too much. It's way too hot. I'm sweating right now. So I'm just going to leave you with a until next time, especially on cars like these and cars like this, which I'm leaning on. I probably shouldn't lean on my Aston Martin. But yeah, this is me telling you that you need to wrench every day.